have to start by, if you hear snoring, I do apologize. It's my dog sleeping. And to start, I titled my presentation, Islamic Culture Influence in Christianity. This is a background on the Islamic faith reported by CNN. They state that the Islamic faith is comparable to the Christian faith. They also state Islam is monotheistic, meaning they believe on one God, whom they call Allah. CNN also states that Muhammad was a prophet of God. They state the Quran mentions the same key players as the Christian Bible, such as Adam, Abraham, Moses, Noah, David, and Jesus, with the key difference being they are all reported to be prophets. They also discuss there being 5 pillars to the Islamic faith. The 5 pillars of Islam, I apologize, I am probably going to mispronounce these, but the first one is Shahada, is a statement of faith all Muslims recite at least one time in their lives. Salat, or Salah, a daily ritual prayer of faith done 5 times a day. If I remember correctly, when saying this prayer, they use a prayer mat and they pray to the east. The next is Zakat, a tax paid to benefit the poor or those in need. Saham, a fast done during the month of Ramadan. And Haji, a pilgrimage every Muslim must do at least once in his or her life, if he or she can afford it, to the holy city of Mecca in modern-day Saudi Arabia. The pilgrimage begins on the 7th or 8th day of the last month of the Islamic lunar calendar and ends on the 12th day of that same month. This does not apply to my presentation, but when I was deployed, or when I was in Afghanistan and I was surrounded by the Muslim faith, I believed that Ramadan was actually the name of the fast, not the month. So I was fairly surprised when I read this. Also, another funny little interjection here. When I was young, I believed that everybody went by the same calendar, like January, February, March, April, and I had no idea there was an Islamic lunar calendar or an Islamic calendar. And that was introduced to me also when I joined the service. The first aspect, how the Islamic culture influences the church today, is by use of narrative. The first quote I have here says, "Today, in the interest of global peace, various post-Christian popular cultures in Africa, Great Britain, and the United States, etc., have been stressing that Christians, Muslims, and Jews are all children of Abraham, worshiping the same God, and thereby seeking to unify the thinking of all 3 faiths." And that was stated by someone who is anonymous. And the second quote is, "Islamic civilization is committed by 2 basic principles, oneness of God and oneness of humanity. Islam does not allow any racial, linguistic, or ethnic discrimination. It stands for universal humanism." They start by trying to prove how the Islamic faith is similar or the same as Christianity. This narrative is stating that all roads lead to heaven, which is a false gospel. Excuse me. Jesus said he is the way, the truth, and life, and no one comes to the Father except through him. The church is forced to navigate these narratives and disprove these beliefs, which can take time and patience. Aspect 2 is how the Islamic culture has influenced art and language. Here we can see the beauty of a mosque. We can see the stained glass and other they're like tiles on the ceilings and things like that, which you can also see in like Catholic churches, like the stained glass in Catholic churches and the ceilings being painted and similar things like that. Next, we see how Islam has influenced Western vocabulary, like the words seen on this slide. Some of these words are like algebra and chemistry, alcohol, amber, lemon, orange, coffee, calf, cane, guitar, safari, and giraffe. All of these were influenced by Arabic words. How this intersects with my own faith, culture, or knowledge of Christ. Some intersects of faith are how we believe in a lot of the same players like Adam, Noah, David, and Jesus, with the key difference being of who they are and what their role is slash was. As far as culture, Islam has influenced art as well as language. Um, and I've read some of the lords that were influenced. And as far as I know, or to my knowledge, I do not think Islam has any effect on my knowledge of Christ, but definitely has an effect on some people's knowledge of Christ because they believe him to be a prophet and not the Messiah. Is there counterculture pieces that you can create to help meet the culture of Islam that faces the church today? There is definitely counterculture for the Islamic faith to help the Church of Christ today. First, one must be pointed out the vast difference in theological beliefs. One must always admit that respect and love will get you further than fear or hatred. There takes a lot of critical thinking, and one must have patience, truth, love, and compassion in the forefront of their minds. In regard to the future challenges the church faces as Islam becomes more widespread, I think of the council culture that is currently on the rise. They preach a propaganda that the biblical narrative is hate speech, which will further drive Islam to become more popular as the Islamic faith is linked with peace. I'm also reminded of when Jesus stated that people want to hear what they want to hear, or in the end times, people want to hear what their itching ears want to hear, which will essentially drive the Islamic faith further. The church will have to be ready to combat these lies and deception, not just with truth, but with peace. It is imperative that the truth be stated but it is also imperative that we come in peace and love like Christ did. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I apologize again if you heard my dog snoring. Bye.